Hello, my lovely students. I hope all of you are doing so well. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how to find the area of triangles and trapezoids, but mostly about those questions that include decimals and fractions. All right, so the first question that we have over here is a triangle that has height of 14.6 inches and a base of 20 inches. The unit here doesn't change anything. Can you see here the inches? If it's inches, centimeters, if it's kilometers, miles, it's not going to change anything. It's just I'm going to add it to the answer at the end. It will not affect the steps or the way we do it. All right, so here, area of triangles. The first thing that we all should be aware of is that to find the area of any triangle in the world, we just do half BH. So this is the rule. To find the area of any triangle, A equals half BH. There is another way of writing it, which is BH over 2, base times height. Then you get the half of them, okay? All right, let's do this now. Here in this question, we agreed we need to find the area. They're asking about the area. Okay, so let's reveal here the first step. The area A equals half. We're going to multiply it by B, which is 20. Then we're going to multiply it by H, which is 14.6. Here you go. All right, someone might say to me, Mr. It all here includes decimals. So what if I change 1 over 2 into 0.5 and then multiply 0.5 by 20 by 14.6? Isn't this going to give me at the end of the right answer? Yes, of course, it will give you the same answer at the end. Someone else would like to do half times 20, which is actually supposed to give you 10. A half times 20 is just 10. The half of 20 is 10. So now this is going to become 10. 10 times 14.6. Oh, mister, we took this lesson. We just moved the decimal point 1 digit to the right. It's going to become at the end 146. So A equals 146 inches squared. So here we know the rule and we understand how to do it, mister. But what confuses us is how we handle fractions and decimals. Use the lessons that we took before. You guys should use the lessons that we learned before in math. Multiplying here 10 by 140 by 14.6. You should know how to do this. You should remember, use this lesson. We took it, moving the decimal point only 1 digit to the right. It becomes 146 inches squared. All right, that's it. Okay, let's move now to the next question. Here in this question, they're giving us the area, but they're asking about the base. The first step is to write the formula, write the rule of finding the area of the triangle. So we must write this, Mr. Yes, you must write it. A equals half BH. Let's see what's going to happen next. I have A. Do I have A or I need to find it? Yes, Mr. We have A. What is A? It is 91.2. Here you go. So 91.2 is going to replace here. We're going to replace A with 91.2 equals, goes down as it is. The half goes down as it is. BH, we have H, we don't have B, but we multiply them by each other. So it's 16 times the base. So 16B. Again, we wrote instead of A, 91.2. The half got down, we got it down as it is. BH is 16 times the base, which is 16B. Someone might replace B with A because A here is the missing, they're calling the base here A, that's going to be fine. All right, let's continue. What is next? Next, I'm going to keep 91.2 as it is. We're not going to change anything in it. 91.2 equals, what is half of 16? Half times 16 means that the half of 16. We agreed also before in a different lesson, which is multiplying fractions or getting a fraction of an amount. The half or half times a number means that the half of that number. So half times 16 means half of 16 equals 8. So it's 8B. So 91.2 equals 8B. Oh, how can we find this? Oh, now this is algebra. It's a one-step equation. How can we find this? You see, guys, it's not about finding the area of a triangle anymore. It's not only about finding the area of a triangle. It includes decimals, lessons from the decimals unit. It includes multiplying fractions. It includes solving equations. So you should use all the lessons that you learned in math that will help you answer this question. How can we find B here, Mr. Ahmed? It is solving an equation, algebra now. All right, so to get rid of the 8 here, we divided, it's 8b, which means 8 times b. We're just going to take it as division. 91.2 divided by 8 will get me b. How can we do it? You can do it using, using long division, like this here, 91.2 divided by 8 is going to give you 11.4 meters squared. No, just meters. It is the base. It's not meters squared. We're not finding the area. We have the area. So it's 11.4 meters. Again, everyone, use the lessons that you learned in math in order to answer this question. Here we use fractions, decimals, dividing decimals. Look at this. Yes, long division. That's a lesson. Solving equations. That's another lesson. Multiplying fractions. That's another lesson. All of this is in the big lesson, which is called area of triangles. All right, let's move to the next question. I needed to hide this before revealing it. I'm going to hide it right now. All right, it doesn't matter anymore. Okay, so here to find the area of this triangle, it all includes here only mixed numbers. So A equals half BH. Half, we already have the half over here, done, times, what's the base? It's 10.5, good. What's the height? It's 10 1/3, good. How can we multiply a fraction by a mixed number by a mixed number? That's all about the fractions unit. Okay, so half times, we're gonna need to turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. So it is 2 times 20. Let me get here, black. 2 times 10 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21/2. That's it. All right, the third mixed number here. 10 1/3. 3 times 10 is 30. And 1 is 31/3. That's another thing. Now we need to multiply fractions. How do we multiply fractions? Numerator by numerator by numerator. 1 times 21 times 31. You're going to find it's 651. 651 over 2 times 2 times 3. You're going to find it is 12. So 651 over 12. Is that the answer? No, that's not the answer. We're not going to leave it this way. So what are we going to do? We're going to divide. We're going to need to convert this improper fraction into a mixed number. How do we do this? That's another lesson. You see, as I told you just a few minutes ago, it all depends on different lessons that you learned throughout this year and maybe even from last year or the years before. Okay, so here to convert an improper fraction into a mixed number, we use long division, 651 divided by 12. It's going to give us 54, remainder 3. So 54, and the remainder is the numerator, 3, over the denominator doesn't change, 12. All right, next. Here we have a trapezoid. Now we're done now with the triangles. How can we find the area of a trapezium? The area of a trapezium equals h, which is the height. We multiply it by base 1 plus b2, because here we have two bases. Some books might call the two bases a and b. Some other books call the two bases b1 and b2. It doesn't really matter as long as we're going to follow the same steps. So area of the trapezium equals height, we multiply by the two bases together, then we divide the answer at the end by 2. Okay, let's do this then. Here is the first step. H is what? 11.7. Here is the height. Good. What are the two bases together? 14.5 plus 5. It is 19.5, mister. 14 and 5 is 19, and there is a half, so 19 and a half. And then at the end, over 2. Oh, Mr., how do we do 11.7 times 19.5? You should know how to do it. And here's the long division, multiplying 3 digits by 3 digits. Of course, now the first step is to ignore the decimal point. That's why we ignored the decimal point. And at the end, I'm going to look, I have 2 digits after the decimal point, 1 digit here, 1 digit here. So I'm going to put 2 digits after the decimal point here. But most probably what's going to happen even this year or the next year, they're not going to allow to let you waste the time in doing this. They're going to allow you to use the calculator. No, actually, most probably, definitely, they're going to allow you to use the calculator. Okay. So here's how we do also the 3 digits by 3 digits. So the answer at the end is going to become 228.15. Then we divide the answer by 2. Let's do this. 228.15. We divide it by 2. Once you do the long division, you're going to find that it's 114.075 miles squared. This is the area. A question like this, as I told you, they will most probably allow you to use the calculator. They're not going to let you waste the time in doing the long division here with decimals, in doing the long multiplication of multiplying 3 digits by 3 digits. But even if, you should be aware also of how to do long division. Of course, you learned this not this year only. We practiced this also, yes, this year. You also practiced it in the previous years. So the answer at the end is 114.075 miles squared. Next question. Here we have mixed numbers and a whole number. So it's all about fractions now. All right. We know now that the area of a trapezium is h. We multiply by the 2 bases, then we divide by 2. Or we can just simply say it is half, because now we're getting the half of all of this. So we can do the same thing, get all of this and get the half of it. Dividing it by 2 or writing it half, it doesn't really matter. But here is going to make it a little bit easier to write it in the form of a fraction like half, like this way, because we have also fractions in that question. So let's look at how this can be done. Here is the area. We need to find the area. So area equals half times b times h, which is the height, 8 3/4. Times b1 plus b2. What is b1 plus b2? It's 10 plus 6.5. 10 and 6.5. And Mr. 16.5. Yes, 16.5. Here it is. So now someone might prefer to do it as multiplying fractions. If you do it as multiplying fractions, we're going to follow the steps that I'm going to show in a minute. Someone else might choose to do it as decimals. So half here is 0.5. 8 3/4 is actually 8.75. 16.5 is actually 16.5. Again, most probably they're going to get you such a question in paper 2, which is allowing you to use a calculator. But also you should be aware of how this can be done. Let's follow here the other way, which is multiplying fractions. How can we do multiplying fractions? I'm going to erase the decimals. I just wanted to show you that, yes, it can be done also in decimals. Here you go. We're going to multiply half by, this mixed number is going to be turned into an improper fraction, which is going to be 4 times 8 is 32, plus 3 is 35 over 4. 2 times 16 is 32, plus 1 is 33 over 2. Now we're going to multiply fractions normally. Numerator by numerator by numerator is going to give you 1,000 to 155. Denominator by denominator by denominator is going to give you 16. Again, most probably they're going to allow you to use the calculator. If they don't, then you should be aware of how to convert this number, this improper fraction, into a mixed number. How can we convert this improper fraction into a mixed number? Using long division. 1,000 to 155 divided by 16 is going to give you exactly 72 remainder. I cannot see it from here. 3. 72 remainder 3. So the answer at the end is going to be 72, and the 3 here is the numerator, and the denominator does not change. It remains 16 as it is. As you see, guys, the problem here, or actually there is no problem at all in the lesson, but the difficulty is not in finding the area of a triangle or applying the rules. The difficulty that you might face is in using the knowledge that you learned in previous lessons that you learned this year and maybe even in the previous years, like as we did in the last question here, multiplying fractions, converting mixed numbers into improper fractions, converting improper fractions into mixed numbers, and so on. Some other questions you even found that you have to use the skills that you learned in algebra, which is solving equations inside geometry. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you soon.